Welcome back to my channel, A Journey for Passion. I'm your host, Tony Mostello, and what today's video is going to be about is the rough seas of change. When something in your life changes, be it external or internal, how to cope with that, how to overcome these things and succeed through change. A lot of people don't deal well with change. I know I don't. Speaking of that, would you please hit the subscribe button? Once you hit that subscribe, hit the little bell. That'll notify you when I upload more content. That being said, let's get to this new video. Much love and peace for y'all, man. Journey for Passion. Let's do this now. Welcome back, subscribers. This is my channel, A Journey for Passion. I'm your host, Tony Mostello. Just want to discuss today the rough seas of change. You might have seen that in the title. That being said, before we get into it, I would ask that you would like, share, subscribe. Even if you hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. That will give you notifications when I upload more content. Also comment on the video below. That way I know, if I'm producing things and producing content that you like, and if there's any suggestions or anything like that, leave them in the comments below. That being said, the rough seas of change. Number one thing, realization. It's got you all up your head, be it whether it's external or internal. But we'll say, for example, for right now, it's external, that your job's going to change, or the hours are going to change, which is going to affect your finances, or how you spend your money, or what you do in your everyday life, or you're going to change a shift. That would be something external. Internal would be, a divorce, problems with the business, a breakup, these sort of things that bring change to the forefront. And there's no way around it. Change is inevitable. We've talked about that before, about you either embrace change and roll with it, or you let it roll over you. Now, I found in my experience, when I went through, certain change, certain personal issue, the realization of it. And I know I talked about journaling before, but I talked about writing these things down. How's it going to affect, what personal changes am I going to have to make, be it in my social environment, my work environment. All of these things affected this change. And once you get to that realization of the oh my God, or what I call the storm moment, of what I'm going to have to change, how am I going to do this, what am I going to do? Knowing that change is inevitable. Again, journaling, writing the things down, the pros of it, the cons of it, what you got to do to adjust. Having a plan, something in place, because change is change, and it is what it is. And the only way to truly embrace that is see what you've got to do personally, what you've got to sacrifice, or physically do more of, whatever that is. Come to a realization of what those are, what those issues are, what you have to do, the realization of it, what's going to change. Secondly, determination to follow through with those changes, externally or internally. If it's a change that you want to make personally, be it I'm not going to spend as much money, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm not going to be in this social circle. Toxic things. And when I say toxic things, you're speaking about people, things in your life, people in your life, your own thoughts that are toxic. Coming after you've had the realization, having the determination that I will get through this, I will overcome this, and I will be in balance and harmony with this change. And the determination process is just as important as any of these steps that I'm talking about. But you're going to have to be determined. If you just sit and say, okay, well, I'm going to go do this and just go through the motions, then you're going to be miserable during this. But how can this benefit you? How can this change benefit you? Try to look at the positive attributes of it, and then build from there. That will then create number 3, stabilization. Say you're in that boat, seas are rough, and you're holding onto the boat a certain way and it's rocking back and forth. Be centered with yourself. Be centered with your thoughts. Be centered with your heart. Stay determined so you can be stabilized through this change. And again, why I say stabilization is in that also you're going to build inner strength, or it could be physical strength. You might be doing something more physical on your job, but inner strength to be stable with oneself, like we talked about in the last video. Being stable, being centered with you, accepting what you can't change, but having the determination to change what you need to change and still live a happy and balanced life with that situation. From that determination and that stabilization, you're now at a point where, okay, now I'm finally dealing with it. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You have a better mindset of it. You have a better looking at it positively and saying, okay, there's nothing I can do about this situation, so I'm going to make the best of it. In that begins the experimentation process that, okay, if I do this, I can tweak this a little bit, and I realize if I don't spend as much money, I can still budget money over here. The separation from somebody else, which is another thing of saying, what am I going to do at this time now? Well, fill that time with positive things that you wanted to do that you couldn't do when you were in a relationship, or something that you were seeking out. Say like I'm doing this show, or something positive, so that what you're doing is you're training your mind to adjust with flow, the light, the ebb and tide of life, change, experimenting with that, finding different ways to fulfill yourself during this change. After that comes the growth, seeing it happen. Now, that change ain't that bad. I'm learning to manage this. I'm learning to adjust to what I've got, and I found out really it's not that bad. Because in the end, the change is going to happen regardless. Even more so on an internal change. If you truly want that, again, we talk about realization, determination, stabilization, the experimenting with, what am I going to do differently, be it if I'm quitting smoking, whatever that is, filling those gaps. What am I going to do differently, and adjusting to that, and being humbled in that, and saying, okay, I'm going to move forward. Again, mind, body, soul. I can do this. Through that experimentation, you're saying, okay, the change is here. I'm making some changes. I can do a little bit more of this, and maybe I don't have to do this. It's not as bad as you thought it was. That brings in the growth. Seeing you adjust to the change. Realizing that not only have you overcome change, because a lot of people don't deal well with change. That's the biggest thing. Some people embrace it. For those people, this video is not for you. But for me personally, change, I like to see things coming. I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself and say I kind of like to stay even keeled all the time, and that's just impossible. You can't. Life is a daily ritual of enhancing oneself, loving oneself, embracing what's brought to you, and making the most positive impact in your life and for others at the same time. And that's rough to do. But in the growth of it, seeing it happen, and you're saying, okay, now here I am. Here's this change. That change wasn't that bad. Yeah, it's less money, but I also found out ways that I could save money and not spend money here, spend money there. You might find that you're putting more money away. Or if you're quitting smoking, you're definitely going to save more money, if it's an internal thing. Internally usually is a choice. And the difference between the internal and the external, I don't think it needs explained, but I'll go ahead and explain it anyway, is external is beyond your control. But internally it's something that's bothering you anyway, that you need to change and you need to work on it. That's what I'm really kind of speaking to in this situation, as far as, the realization of it. You have to do it, the determination, being stable in that. Experimenting in different ways, the experimentation process of how I can go about this to break this habit, or to break being around these toxic people or things or my own thoughts. Once you get to that, you get to the growth period where, okay, here I am. I'm doing it. I'm level. Take some time in that growth time and love yourself through that. Look back and say, man, I thought it was going to be this, I thought it was going to be that, but have a grateful heart and say, you know what, here I am. Here's the growth. I have saved money, or I haven't been smoking anymore, or I'm not in the same social circle I was in, or I'm not drinking, whatever it is that you especially with internal, what you need to change. And through all of that, comes the wisdom. And the more you handle these different stages in that order, the next time change comes about, you'll be like, I already know what I got to do. What do I got to do? Realize what I got to change. Be determined that I'm going to change it. Be stable in it. Experiment in it. See where you can move things around. Do this or do that during that change. Embrace the change, because there's really nothing you can do. And if it's internal, you know you have to embrace it anyway. Especially if it's for you, you're going to have to do it. Through that wisdom, now you've built confidence, self-confidence. I can and will change. I am a survivor of change. I will be able to get through this. I can. It will be done. I can do it. Living in a positive situation for it. And it's easier said than done. I'm not trying to sit here and say, man, you just do these things and say these things and it happens. No, it's a struggle. But what would life be without a struggle? It's the ebb and the tide. We're up, we're down. We're up, we're down. So these are just some of the things that I had applied to myself. And, just writing things down. The reason I say write them down is because you'll go back and you'll look at it. And then 3-4 days later, 3-4 weeks later, however long this process is and whatever it is that you're going through in this journey, you look back and say, man, I had all of this, and this was just kind of ridiculous, because look where this changed. Look how I adapted to this. Look where there was a growth and the wisdom in this. The self-confidence and the ability to do what I need to sustain me as a person. Me as someone who loves myself. Me, confident in me. That's pretty much all I got for this week. I just wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet. Remember, like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell on there so you'll be notified when I do upload new content onto the channel. I wish you all the best. Change, it's inevitable. Personal change, it's a struggle too, but it'll be worth it in the end. Apply these things. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me ask you a question. Is there something that you've got to change? Are you in a situation where your job has changed? Put it in the comments below. I love to read them. Anyway, thank you for taking the time with me. I love you all. Maddie Ray, Poppy loves you. This is a journey for passion, y'all. Peace. Love.